for
Nsem-Pii will honor more. Now Nsem so it is. Utie now share on my YouTube channel.
Be the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
He who alleges always got to prove. Yes. Say o de intansa to obi so a e wo sa oba na be kire se de wo ka no e no kore no e na wo ka no. Enei Richard Jakpa. She said they will dwane. Yes, live from court, Nsem-Pii TV. Richard Jakpa and then the lawyers, Dr. Bassett, Bamba, Edu Jitamaklo, Thaddeus Sorry. She said they omo dwane omo patch over court. Omo the objections are do ni nyina so ye bo e de totwene esanse wona di kan e de Nsem-Pii betutu dwa court se woni attorney general ko di nkomo wo sanso wo ne audio recording woni ne ko share with justice yoni kolendi fee just Nsem-Pii enei cross examination no ekoso no and Nsem-Pii TV a report to the amamo as to how the proceedings enko na see the enkansu ababe todwa and say the attorney general has submitted all 68 WhatsApp messages here Richard Jakpa send the man. Attorney General tender 68 messages here wana Jakpa and fifth chance say a free no court who say pru and the lawyer study sorry the Bassett Bambamo sorry say my lord we are objecting to the tendering of these 68 messages by the Attorney General. No and young your objection to Attorney General. And so WhatsApp messages are hot door in Sema Richard Jakpa eke kanye and name ababetina court a detroning in the office of the learned Attorney General through Deputy Attorney General Afia and Director of Public Prosecutions Yvonne Atakra Ububisa and ni no to Japano no omo submit ye edema yemami Justice Afia sewa asaributwe na submit ye ni ebusa Jakpa se Jakpa 68 WhatsApp messages any dia be you dia asem na wo ho ka oti hodi asem otimi kan ya ne said I brought the relevant portions of my conversation with the Attorney General that will make my case it not just no peno and wo yi free me de ba ye the Attorney General the 68 number when you say 68 na we e be kwatia no but no de no hwa e be boa no ama na asem aye de court and na obabe gina court edi etudwa ema Ghana fo nyina etie ana yese busan say inti DNT ana we use as the 8 messages free man ya wo pen ade betudwa no Jakpa say I brought the relevant portions of my conversations with the Attorney General and on edi kan aka no say I took his number from my cousin Justice Yeni Kolendi and sent him a message since he didn't know that I had his number inti through some comedy no and no submit yes how no text message Jakpa if you said now this is another thing on Sakai. I'll say the WhatsApp conversation was between the Attorney General and myself. He is at liberty to bring other portions that he feels would discredit what I have put here. The audacity of Richard Jakpa. Now they say 68 WhatsApp messages have been tendered in court by the office of the Attorney General. I ne enkomo nkasa Jakpa no di kan send ye na no lawyer pona do mo kire di betudwa no enei ni nyina ababa bededi. Now the Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuyayeboa will appear every court and wodi nsem etudwa live from proceedings in Siko omienko ni nkonkotie.
Yeah, what do you make of Richard Jakpa's testimony today?
You've been the character of Richard Jakpa, saying that he was dismissed from the military.
We are doing a cross-examination, and that forms part of our cross-examination. And what you just heard is what you just said.
How difficult have you found Richard Jakpa to be in the witness box?
You were in court. You witnessed it. Make your own judgment.
At a point, DPP appeared to be frustrated with some of the answers Richard Jakpa was giving. You were in your seat. How did you feel?
She wasn't frustrated. She did a yeoman's job.
Now, from the answers from the accused person, are you surprised with them, especially so when they're asking one question and taking about 4 pages to answer? Are you surprised?
I think you pass your own judgment.
So the AG has come back to court today. I saw him passing questions to the DPP, mentioning questions to the DPP to ask Jakpa, has he defied the directive by this trial judge, and now he's taking part of the ongoing trial, you would say?
Let me make this correction. There was no directive from the trial judge.
The advice.
Exactly. Advice, you watch out the space, whether the AG will stand to conduct the case or will observe the proceedings.
But technically,
the right, just like you, to be in court, observe proceedings. As to whether you conduct the case, leave the space unless you have.
But technically, he is asking questions because he was passing questions to the DPP, dictating questions for her to ask Jakpa. That is technically taking part of.
He wasn't dictating questions to the DPP to ask. But if you are even a litigant in court, and you are subject matter of a certain litigation, don't you reserve the right to be in court? Even if AG was the one being prosecuted, he has the right to be in court. And so today he came to court to observe proceedings, as you came to do.
You
But it's beyond observing.
by the accused person, seeking to at least have the AG in what he wants to describe as a cross-examination of a sort, seeking to...
I think he was properly answered by the presiding judge, and I'll make no further comment. You were in court and you heard the comments.
From what you said to the Attorney General, do you feel the same that he would love the opportunity to cross-examine to Jakpa himself?
You wait until we get to the end of the proceedings. If you come, you know. If you don't come, you also know.
Is it the case of the state that Richard Jakpa, by the documents that he put before the court, did not give the entirety of the conversations that went on between him and the Attorney General, and what his lawyers have been pushing is really not what happened?
You were in court. Jakpa tendered some documents in respect of the chat. We also are going to tender the full complement of the chat. And that's what we are seeking to do.
And you think the full complement is going to help your case?
Wait until we get there.
Because it appears he's now bringing in new stories that were not part of what they've tendered into evidence.
Don't be disturbed by that. You will handle everything in court.
Thank you very much.
And that was a reaction from the Attorney General's department, and that was the Deputy Attorney General, Afia reaction after today's hearing, where the AG had the opportunity to cross-examine Richard Jakpa. The cross-examination will continue on Thursday. And I'm guessing that Latif Idris was in court for us today. So, Latif, so on Thursday, that will end everything, because I know that the first accused, Dr. Atufosim, he's already closed his case.
Yep.
The case, the state also closed its case.
Yeah.
It was left with Jakpa to be cross-examined. So after the cross-examination by the Attorney General on Thursday, will that bring everything to an end for the judge to now decide, the merits and then pass judgments in the day that she will set?
No. So what is going to happen after Richard Jakpa? There's yet another person that will be cross-examined, and this is Big C, the Big C people. Okay. They are the main
company that was to supply
with the government of Ghana to supply the ambulance. Richard Jakpa is their local agent. So they will also be cross-examined, and so Richard Jakpa's cross-examination wouldn't end the matter. Trial.
Okay. Yeah. Now today, let's start from the onset. Before the court was called into section, we understand that the Deputy Attorney General had concerns with what he claims to be somebody who had recorded proceedings of last Thursday and was circulating the audio recording on WhatsApp. Tell us about it.
Yeah, correct. So this was when, after Richard Jakpa was made to mount the witness box to be cross-examined by the Director of Public Prosecution. And then Afia rose and put before the trial judge that this is what he has found, that there's been a circulation of portion of Thursday's proceedings in court, which is being circulated on some audio, which is being circulated on some WhatsApp platforms. And so he wanted the trial judge to take cognizance of that and then take the necessary action, if you like. Then she found it very problematic because she said it's prohibited for anyone to record the proceedings in court. In fact, the journalists who sit through proceedings have been told that it is not allowed, it is prohibited to record proceedings in court. So she found it to be problematic. Quickly, she called the leadership, and I'm talking about the lead counsel for Kesel Atufosim, lead counsel for Richard Jakpa, and the prosecution into a conclave. And it took a little longer than we expected. We thought it was going to be like some 10 minutes meeting, but then it went on for like 20 minutes. Now, when they came back, the trial judge issued a warning and asked that national security should take up the issue, investigate and get to the bottom of whoever recorded that proceedings. And once investigations is done, we know the outcome of it. It means if you are
obviously you will be in contempt of court.
Exactly. You are going to be dealt with. She said if it continues again, she will be forced to take additional stringent measures, which would be that the rest of the proceedings or the trial will be held in camera.
Meaning only the lawyers and their clients will be in court.
Will be in court to, if it continues. But now she has asked National Security to take up any.
But did the Deputy Attorney General provide any name as to the one behind the circulation of this audio recording of the court proceedings on Thursday?
For those of us who sat in open court, who didn't join the conclave, we were unable to tell whether or not at that meeting in chambers, the Deputy AG mentioned names or not. We do not know. All we know is that they went in there to verify the claim that had been made by the Deputy Attorney General, after which the judge issued this directive for National Security to investigate and also issue the warning that if it continues, she will be left with no option than to, hold the rest of the proceedings in camera. And
then before the cross-examination started, the Attorney General himself, Godfred Yeboah-Dame, walked into the court.
Yeah. So,
but he didn't do the cross-examination.
Yes, he didn't do the cross-examination. For the last two sittings, if I'm right, he didn't show up in court. And so there was this rumor that, okay, he has now taken the advice of this trial judge. Today, he showed up, took his seat, but then he didn't do the cross-examination, even though he was conferring with the Deputy Attorney General, whilst the Director of Public Prosecution was on her feet questioning Richard Jakpa. He didn't directly cross-examine, the third accused.
So now let's get to the meat of the matter. The first issues that came up, one of them had to do with whether Jakpa was sacked from the Ghana Armed Forces and whether he failed his promotion exams.
Correct. So this question, you see the question he just asked.
And a yes or no answer that was required.
Yes or no answer. It took 4 pages. And I think it went even beyond 4 pages. Answer by Richard Jakpa. So that was the question. Mr. Jakpa, you failed your promotion exams in 2000. I don't recall the exact year. I think it was 2000 or so. Then Richard Jakpa said that will be inaccurate. And then he went on and on with explanation. So let me just run us through a bit of the explanation that he came up with. He mentioned to the court that he was commissioned into the Ghana Armed Forces in 1998 as a regular career corps intake 38 and was not dismissed but was released honorably. Those were his words. He was released honorably by the Ghana Armed Forces. So he went back to when Adokufo was then Minister of
Defense. And this will be President Kufuor's era.
And that the minister had visited Sunyani, where he was in charge of a whole unit. A unit Richard Jakpa claims could only be headed by a major, someone who has the rank of a major in the Ghana Army. He wasn't a major, but he was heading that unit.
So, he was heading the 3BN as a commanding officer.
A unit that's supposed to be headed by a major.
Not a unit. Actually, a whole 3BN is the 3 Infantry Battalion based in Sunyani.
Yeah.
Yes.
He made this case and many other cases to suggest to the prosecution that he is not that dumb to fail an exams organized by the Ghana Armed Forces. He quoted some exams he passed with a university in Pennsylvania and other foreign universities. He said he wrote 25 exams in 2 years and got over 97% in total.
But the question was whether he failed the promotion exams at the Ghana Armed Forces.
Then he makes the case that he was victimized because he's carrying the baggage of his father.
Who is his father?
He says his father was part of the cadres who got former President Jerry John Rawlings from prison during the revolution. And so...
That is when the late former President Rawlings was arrested after staging a coup d'etat.
Exactly. That his father was the secretary of a unit, which for him was like the administrative body of the cadres. And so they led to the, release of former President Rawlings from prison. And so all the senior military officers who knew his father knew him. And so when he got into the army, he didn't get favors from any of the senior military officers who started victimizing him right from day one when he got into the army. He went on to say that he was the best marksman of his intake, the unit. He was the best marksman. It means he was the one who was on top when it comes to weapons handling and all of that. And so when President Jerry John Rawlings came to commission the unit, he instructed that he, Richard Jakpa, be sent to the Gonda barracks and not to the base where they repair vehicles and armored vehicles and all of that. That went contrary to what the military unit had done with the deployment. And so when they said that this was an order from the former president, his superiors didn't like it because they found him to be a spy. Those were his words. They saw him as a spy who has been sent by the former president to come and investigate and report their dealings at the unit. And so they didn't like him. And he went on and on and on to make the point that he didn't fail the exams, but then he was victimized by the Ghana Armed Forces because of the baggage he carried of his father. And he also claims that when former President Kufuor assumed power, he was transferred from Gonja Barracks to 3BN in Sunyani. Yeah. Because of his father's links. Yeah. And from Sunyani, rather, to, he said, a coffee shop somewhere in the barracks without any responsibility. So he was moved from Sunyani to the barracks. They didn't give him any assignment to come and do. So when he wakes up in the morning, he goes to the coffee shop, sits there all day long. And according to him, that was when his problems started. Because one day, whilst he was at the coffee shop, a cook came in and told him that he had found a lifeless body lying at the back of the canteen. He went there and found out that it was the lifeless body of the bodyguard of the former CDS, J.B. Dankwa, who was shot twice in the head. You know, it went on and on. It was a winding testimony by Richard Jakpa, which made it difficult. Just for a yes or no answer on the matter whether he was sacked or he failed the promotion exam. Let's talk about his relationship with the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame. Yeah. So today again, Richard Jakpa in open court told the court that his first telephone conversation with the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, was when he, Richard Jakpa, was detained at the ministry's police station, and that he had satisfied all his bail conditions. 5 million Ghana cedis, 4 sureties, 1 to be justified. But then he was being frustrated administratively. Those were his words. And so he called his cousin, who is a Supreme Court judge, and complained to him that this is the situation I find myself in. I have satisfied all the bail conditions, but I'm being frustrated. Is there a way you could help me? So then, according to Richard Jakpa, the Supreme Court judge, at the point he was engaging him, was on the bench. He was on a case. He had to recuse or get an excuse. And in his robe, according to Richard Jakpa, walked into the office of the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, and told him that this is what his cousin is going through. Is there a way he could help? Then this Supreme Court judge. Yeah. And in this case, already the name is out there. Justice Kulendi. Yes. So he went to the Attorney General's office and told him that this is what Richard Jakpa is going through. Is there a way he could help? Then Richard Jakpa says that his cousin gave the phone to the Attorney General, who engaged him on the telephone, that this is his predicament and that he wanted the Attorney General to help him. Then he said the Attorney General got him out to get the bail that he wanted. And so for him, that was the first telephone conversation he had with the Attorney General. Then he went on to challenge the Attorney General, who was sitting in the court, that if he is challenging what he, Richard Jakpa, was saying to the court, then he should mount the witness box and be cross-examined, so he will speak under oath and refuse whatever him, Richard Jakpa, was saying. Okay. Obviously, the judge wouldn't allow that to go because it's not part of procedure in court to be passing some of these comments. And then the final question before I let you go. There was a question about why Richard Jakpa chose to highlight 2 text messages, WhatsApp text messages.
when he has sent 68 text messages to the Attorney General?
Yeah, so according to the Director of Public Prosecution, who was cross-examining Richard Jakpa, what they have in their possession shows that Richard Jakpa had sent the Attorney General 68 WhatsApp messages. Out of these 68, the Attorney General only responded to 2 or sent only 2 responses. Then, so she put that to Jakpa and said, is that not so? Then Richard Jakpa says no, because out of the 68 messages he had sent to the Attorney General, some were responses he was giving to the Attorney General based on face-to-face conversations they have had prior to him sending the WhatsApp messages in response to those face-to-face conversations. So it will not be entirely accurate for the Director of Public Prosecution to suggest to him that the AG had only responded to 2 out of the 68 messages that Richard Jakpa, has sent to him.
All right, Latif, thank you very much for that.
Be the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.